Who wants to do when last we met our heroes?
All right, all right, all right.
All right, all right, all right.
All right, all right, all right, all right. Hey,
Alright.
hey, yeah. A turtle burst into what had previously been a quiet clinic. Slung over his shoulder was a man cackling with apparent glee, but a look of panic in his eyes betrayed the nature of his malady. Lucius diagnosed him with cackling fever, a disease that has passed through auditory exposure. Unfortunately, that means we may all be infected. We had to travel to the tribelands to obtain a rare flower, the Knoll's tongue. It grows only near the corpses of hyenas that have created or are about to create new gnolls. Soap disguised herself as a gnoll, which was enough to prevent them from attacking us outright, and together Lucius, Soap, and Stitch talked them into sharing the knowledge of the gnoll birthing grounds with us, courtesy of Lucius' helpful trade of an alchemy jug. We traveled to the birthing ground and found numerous flowers, about a pound in total. While gathering herbs, Soap was distracted by a strange wheezing sound. She began to dig. The rest of us, unconcerned by this particular round of antics, continued harvesting flowers while the gnoll tried valiantly to get all the honey out of a bottomless jar. Suddenly, Soap gave a shout and pulled what looked like a leather bag out of the ground. Somewhat unsettlingly, it began to inflate of its own accord. Soon the hide of a horse stood in front of us. It clearly was empty of all internal structure, and yet it seemed substantial enough to ride. It turns out this was Soap's warhorse from a long time ago. We returned to the clinic with little issue and had gathered around the apothecary to manufacture the drug when a strange shockwave pushed us nonviolent to the edge of the room. A devil, covered in grievous wounds, appeared in our midst. Finally, I've traveled far enough. You don't know me. Now I will deal with you. As the devil spoke, she pulled Soap toward her, and Soap disappeared. The rest of us beat the devil to death, and Soap reappeared 6 seconds later, as confused as the rest of us.
What do you guys do next? Devil just showed up, did some weird shit. You killed it. It vanished into like a shimmer of electric dust.
Soap? Who have you been consorting with?
I don't know anything about this. I've never seen that woman.
Looking at you.
I've never seen that woman before in my life.
I mean, it was female shaped, yes, but I wouldn't call it a woman.
Well,
Did you see the horns? The red skin, the tail.
Oh, you're right. We shouldn't assume. But no
Might
matter.
not have been a tail. But it had boobs. Maybe.
Stitch. I am familiar with anatomy.
I was eye level with it, I know.
Look.
I did look.
I can assure you, I am aware that there are some gaps in my memory, but I have not the foggiest idea. It's... Alright.
I don't know why. I believe you. You seem like you're telling the truth.
Even in the odd chance that this is some old enemy of mine, I assure you that any old enemy of mine would not be of an infernal persuasion.
Yeah,
more the opposite, to be honest.
It said, I've traveled far enough, you don't know me.
Yes.
What does that mean? What happened to you? Do you remember the last 6 seconds?
No. What happened was that the creature's hand touched me, and then the very next instant, it was dead on the ground. It was as if it... Well, it must have transported me forward in time. That is, not to my knowledge, a power commonly attributed to devils.
What are you talking about? I thought everything goes forward in time. I'm doing it right now.
You're doing it at a rate of 1 second per second. I don't think Soap did, because remember how she just kind of bamfed out of there?
I thought she had just fallen asleep. Isn't that what happens to everyone? Your eyes close and then you wake up and suddenly it's a different time?
Did you see her asleep on the floor?
You can see
course.
other people when they're asleep.
Have you?
Can you?
Should I answer that question truthfully?
I'm sorry. Are you suggesting that when others are unconscious, they become imperceptible to you?
Well, nobody's ever noticed me when I'm asleep, and I haven't noticed other people sleeping.
Santa, is that you?
My friend, I may need to make you the subject of a case study. You have a fascinating mind. But more to the point.
I would just like to point out the absurdity of her making him the subject of a case study before she asks Chris. Sorry, I'm not there.
She's been studying you for several weeks.
Uh,
I've seen it while you were sleeping.
You guys feel free to show up whenever you want. Nadira, you were in the basement. You heard this go on, but you were kind of doing some work, so do what you will with that.
The
Okay.
screaming died down very suddenly, so it didn't seem like it was a big issue.
well, all right. It seems unlikely that it was someone we have met before, but it was someone who was familiar with us.
I think
And-
it's someone we're going to meet.
Well, that's one possibility. Either that, or we have a bunch of doppelgangers running around.
It's at this point Chris walks in the door.
Hey, Chris.
Chris, you see on the floor is a scorch mark. It's pretty circular. And everyone who's in the room with hair, their hair is kind of standing up a little bit still.
It still smells like egg farts and ozone in here, too.
Yeah.
Nadira comes upstairs as well.
Did
And sees all this stuff.
did Lucius miss with the electric for his brother again?
No, some freaky devil just showed up.
We've been infiltrated. Luckily, we were able-
Again?
Yes.
Yes, again.
What do you mean again?
We suck at this.
Well,
That's-
we're not exact. We are a public institution.
So say you're an open clinic.
Yeah.
No, hold on. What's this again? This is both Chris and the player asking. I have completely forgotten the first time we were infiltrated.
I'm assuming the boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't an infiltration. You brought him to us
Yeah.
with the player.
Well,
What? Do we have to argue logistics?
Also,
Well, yeah. There's
admittedly,
a
the
difference.
first time they had help.
technically, the clinic had not been constructed to that point.
I mean, that's true.
In any case, yes, a outsider accosted us. We do not know from whence they came, but they seem to be familiar with us, strangely.
It was a nearly dead devil.
We
He
were
said
able-
something like, "Finally, I've traveled far enough. You don't know me. Now I will kill you."
Okay. I think at this
Deal.
point,
Well, that's interesting.
Crispy is gonna rack her brains, trying to think of, anyone she know, like, obviously, Bebemimo, but like, just any leads about like time fuckery, like. I'm trying to think of how I'd phrase this as a question. What exactly
Any
I'm
chrono
asking?
that we know?
Who would have the power? Who would have the power to go back back or forwards in time and also have a motive to kill us?
Give me an Arcana check.
Arcana. Okay.
Guidance. Hey, let me hook you up with that guidance.
Oh, whoops. Wrong die.
I guess I'm not going to hook you up with
It's a
it.
1. It's a 18.
So, chronomancy is an incredibly high level ability. Few wizards ever gain the ability to manipulate time itself. Like, time is one of those, like, immutable aspects of the universe that's, like, really difficult to manipulate.
Yeah.
And I can't make a chronomancer for my next character.
And one of the problems with dealing with a being capable of warping time is if it came from the future to have a grievance with you, you probably haven't actually met it yet.
Also, we may not have done the thing that would motivate it to attack us, so we'd have no idea what its motive is.
Time
Maybe
is
this was
weird.
the thing.
Time travel
So-
makes things weird.
Yeah. Is there... Okay, follow-up question. Is there any possible way that I could get some kind of trace or investigate the scene here, like maybe collect a little bit of the ash?
To do what with?
Just gain any kind of information. Or are we... Is the physical evidence basically useless?
Yeah, the physical evidence is pretty much useless. I mean, all you really have is just like some scorch marks, and like some trace magical residue that just kind of happens when you blow up a double.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Alright.
much like its essence being torn back to hell.
Well, just to summarize, we have no idea who that was. We probably won't know who that is for some time, nor will we know what it is we've done to anger them for some time, and there's nothing we can do to gain any more information. That being the case, I suggest we simply forget about it and move on.
Huh.
This is future me's problem. Quite
That-
literally.
Totally come back to bite us in the gonads.
Listen, Nadira, I am quite an old necromancer, and that is not a combination of traits that comes up often. You have to take things as they come.
The universe will probably work its way in our favor, or not, but this will certainly come right when it's time.
Exactly. See, Stitch and I see eye to eye.
No, I'm pretty sure he's about chest high on you.
I think he's a bit shorter than that.
It's an expression, Kriz.
I'm about level to her brown eye, if you know what I'm saying.
I thought her eyes were. What color are Chris's eyes?
Oh,
What
she's got a
color
brown
is
eye.
that?
Trust me, we all have a brown eye.
Going to pointedly ignore that comment. So,
Get flashbacks of Tom.
do we? Yeah. I mean, our Chrysope is satisfied. She's just gonna go back to doing whatever she was doing. I mean, I guess. Yeah. In any case, we still have a potential cackle fever epidemic on our hands. Come on, we need to start moving. Nadira, we're going to need to
Wait.
manufacture as many doses as possible of.
Wait, cackle fever? What the hell is that?
All right. Cackle fever is a audibly transmitted disease. We had a patient come in some time ago. We don't know. We have no idea how many people he may have infected on his way in. Which is why we brought.
At least all of us in the room might be infected, except for you.
Yes. Which is why we're going to need to manufacture as many doses of the remedy as possible. Lucius and I-
Is Chris familiar with the cackle fever?
Gnolls are immune to it.
Does he still count as a null in that respect?
That was going to be my next question.
That is a theory to test.
Oh, okay.
Let's put me in the room, boys.
Yes. We have a patient currently. We have our patient 0. He's going to need treatment as quickly as possible. He's only going to be asleep for so much longer.
We hope he's patient 0 at least.
Yes.
That's not something that had crossed Soap's mind yet. Now she has worries.
Chrysopia is going to take out some notes, and she's going to write a prescription for the formula for the cackle fever remedy.
Cool.
And she's going to hand that prescription to Nadira to start synthesizing medicine.
Oh, okay. I'm going to look at her a little strangely. Then I'm gonna look at Stitch, who seems to have backed up her claim about this weird laughing condition.
I assure you, it's very serious.
The turtle and a half shell brought the fellow in, actually. Hey,
Well,
Rick, you
schmuck.
didn't see anybody else that was out there cackling like our homie over there in the bed, did you?
Nope. But I did walk down a couple streets with him.
Oh, great.
Okay, I'll take this and kind of look it over, I guess. And
Just a list of ingredients. They've got plenty of the flour.
I guess I'll get to work.
Okay, you guys have most of the ingredients. It was really just the flour that they needed. And go ahead and give me a alchemy check. Alchemist's kit check.
Okay.
Should be intelligence based.
Yes.
See how efficiently you brew this stuff.
Plus proficiency. Oh God. Blech.
Let's.
Can I use luck?
Yeah, you can use luck.
Wonderful.
Guidance. Hold that luck. Hold that luck roll.
Okay.
+4 is not going to get it. Use the luck.
Okay.
Yeah, no, she's going to use the luck roll, and I'm going to guide.
Okay. So I get that
You just
plus
you're gonna roll a d4.
a D.
Yeah, you're gonna add a
What's
d4
that?
to the roll.
You missed it. My guidance.
Oh, sorry. Here, I'll just roll a.
Down at the
Oh, the
bottom
roll
is-
didn't stick it. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's much better.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. 19. Yeah, no. You do a pretty dang good job. Synthesizing this remedy. You follow Chrysiopia's recipe, and you do a good job, like drying out, grinding down, and distilling the essence of these knoll tongue flowers. I'm gonna say you make from a pound of flowers, you make. Enough doses to cure 15 people.
Just going to have to hope
Oh,
that
nice.
we're just going
That's
to have to
quite a
hope
bit.
that that's enough.
Yeah, but we have to hold back at least 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 doses.
Plus Nelly, plus the guy
Nelly had the
himself.
earplugs in the whole time.
Yeah, that's my other question.
Yeah,
Can we-
Nelly did have earplugs in the whole time.
Yeah. Is it possible to take these as a prophylactic? So like take it in preparation so that you don't get infected?
It's a remedy, not so much a vaccine.
Okay, that's fair. I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Well, we
No.
everyone who was exposed to the laughter should take a dose anyway. Just to be certain.
Right now?
We're not going to wait until we... or what? Wait until we laugh and potentially infect someone else?
Yes. Wait until we laugh. Everybody who has been possibly infected with this goes into isolation. The rest of us start wearing earplugs.
You gotta quarantine yourselves for like 5 days.
Yeah. You get to go into reverse isolation, quarantine. Ah.
No, I'm pretty sure this is regular isolation. Reverse
It is.
isolation would be out and about with other people.
I was being a smartass.
Yes, I suppose that's fair. Not
With
as
as little of the drug as we have, it does make more sense to save it until we know you've got it.
Don't we all sleep in like the same room at the bottom of this clinic?
Well, I technically...
I
Nadira
would
and
say we
don't-
probably have our own rooms at this point, don't we?
Nadira... Well, there's not a lot of space. We also have like beds for patients.
That's true.
There's like no space. For the love of God, Soap has to fold up her horse at night.
So the upstairs is a modest clinic with a couple of beds with like the curtain dividers, and then downstairs you have a similar setup with like more permanent walls.
Yeah.
But they are like really thin, like just plywood walls.
Yep.
And sewer access. Don't forget the sewer
Yeah.
access.
And you get the fresh stink of the sewer constantly coming in, so you've got that to look forward to at night too.
Right. So I guess we have to quarantine.
Chris shares a room with Tancred.
And that would have to be everyone except Nadira and Kriz, because they were the only ones who weren't potentially infected.
Yeah.
This is
Also, I'm possibly just immune. So I guess you all get to look forward to Chris cooking in the next couple days.
That's what we do.
I'm so thankful I don't have to eat.
Okay, so we're gonna try and blast through the quarantine really quick. After the first day, I need Constitution saving throws from Stitch and Chrysiopia.
Oh no.
Chrysiopia,
Hey,
you get
that
the
looks familiar.
you get the giggles.
The duality of man.
You get a level of exhaustion on top of your other level of exhaustion, because I'm presuming it's been a while since your last
Yeah.
taste of vigilance. And Stitch, you're feeling pretty good still. However, Chrysiopia starts laughing, so everyone is at least re-exposed. Who's down there with her?
Yeah, this is the other problem with this is that well, we would think to like use ear protection, right? Because
If
Yeah.
you were doing this the right way, then yeah, you could deafen yourselves.
right, because otherwise we would just end up accidentally reinfecting each other.
Yeah. That does mean that it takes a while for people to notice that Chrysiopia is laughing her ass off.
Yeah.
You probably spend like an hour or two just like cackling madly in your room before somebody comes to check on you.
To be
we
fair,
all-
that's not unusual for soap.
We all just thought that Tancred told her a really funny joke.
That Tancred's a real cut up.
It's true.
Ah.
It's not unusual for me.
We actually could have had Tancred
would-
down here keeping an ear out for us.
That raises a point. Tancred is
Undead.
He's undead. He's
Yeah,
immune to
I'm sorry.
disease.
I
Oh,
thought
okay.
he was a
okay, okay.
construct.
Nope. For the flesh sculptor, he's specifically undead.
Oh, okay.
And since Chris isn't supposed, since we're testing whether or not Chris is susceptible,
Oh, we are
given his
testing?
body, we might as
think we
well.
should.
No? Okay, never mind then.
We have X doses, and we need to be prepared for 2 streets worth of the people. So
Yes.
Okay.
Alright.
So,
are you gonna roll a percentile die and tell us how many people are effed out there?
we'll find
Did
out.
I not give you that idea?
Oh, I have
So we're-
plans.
Out of it.
I have plans
okay.
within plans within plans.
So we had 15 doses. So far we've treated the patient 0 and now me. So we're down 2.
And then 2 days 2 days after that, I need Lucius to give me a roll.
And he has advantage.
Yes, I do. You said it's a con saving throw?
Yes, sir.
Because he is only mostly dead.
Hey,
22.
turns out you're okay. And then I need Ricochet to give me one. On the 4th day. 7. Ricochet is also
Caleb?
laughing.
Kalen,
Did you make
Are
the
your-
text on your die black?
that way I don't have to see the 20s I miss.
You know
Fair.
what? That's actually pretty smart. Although I will say, it's tempting con save, as we can see by your roll.
Yes.
Yeah, no, Ricochet also needs a dose.
Okay.
Tastes like dead
Okay, so
hyena
now
person balls.
we're down to we've got 12 doses left.
Yes.
While this has been going on, while you guys have been quarantined, there has been a minor health crisis going on in the area. Luckily, the Mage Knights have managed to put a swift end to it by rounding up whomever started breaking into fits of laughter and just chucking their asses into the sky, into the Dragon Shadow.
Oh, good.
Fantastic.
That's a great way to deal with your sick.
I love how the prison.
Oh
gets
yeah,
worse
let's just
and
put
now it's
everybody in
also
jail.
plagues.
Yeah, it's how they handle pandemics. Is-
It's not jail, it's a new place of residence.
Yeah,
You
that's
don't come back.
that's how they handle pandemics. Is they snatch you up off the street and then toss you into their prison camp.
God forbid you be a drunk walking down the street that day.
Some dude just hears a really funny joke and they're like, "That's it, Dragon Shadow."
God, every time I think this setting couldn't possibly get any worse.
Can
They
we
just start raiding comedy clubs.
can we start putting out like flyers?
Overall, it was about, I'd say about 24 people, which is pretty good. The Mage Knights did good work. They were pretty swift.
Did the Mage Knights get infected?
No, they were wearing earmuffs like you guys are. So, you want to put out flyers? You want to advertise your place as a gathering point for the sick to show up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure this won't result in the Mage Knights showing up, rounding up everyone, and tossing them into the Dragon Shadow.
I feel that we may be running into limits of what our resources can handle. Maybe might be time to think about expanding our efforts.
Well, yes. But, now we know exactly what it is and what to make of it, so what to make with the ingredients. We could always put out a quest for somebody to get some of these flowers for us.
And pay them with...
Money?
How much do you have?
Exposure? I don't know.
So that would be an
Oh, shit.
that would be an operations check from your organization. Because you can just pay people to go do things for you, and that would be an operations check.
Here's a question.
Hmm.
How long are these doses of medicine good for?
Let's say, I mean, she got really good on the check. That's like, it was like, what, a 19?
Yeah.
Let's say that they're shelf stable for about a month.
Okay.
After that, you can't really trust it anymore. It might still work, but you're rolling the dice.
But pre-compounding, the ingredients are good to go. The dried ones, at least, right?
Should we?
Yeah, you can keep the dried flowers pretty much as long as you need to.
Yeah, I mean, like, the only other thing I think of is, like, maybe it would be better to just, like, give our doses to the Mage Knights, but, like, how are we gonna convince them that we actually know what we're doing enough to make a medicine that can treat this?
You're gonna look like every other snake oil salesman in the city.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
but
worse,
if we don't
if
try,
you
then
And worse, if you show proof, guess who's going to the shadow, to the Dragon Shadow?
Not you. It's not illegal.
No, this is how we get proof. We find someone, drag them back, and cure them in front of the Mage Knights after exposing a bunch of people to them.
No. No, it's not illegal to bring them here, but it is illegal to, I have to imagine it's illegal to prevent them from taking our patients, which is something I would do.
Yeah, I think they probably frown upon that.
I hear the words "stop resisting" in my mind.
Yeah.
let's put out the word. Let's get people who are infected to come here.
Yeah.
Let's also set up a quest to get some people to bring in some more of the flowers for us.
Yeah, we have to do it what we can, even if the 15 doses we have aren't enough. They're no good to anyone just sitting in our clinic.
We came here to do something, not to wimp out when the going got hard,
we
right?
need to gain like greater. What is the word I'm looking for?
Reputation?
Yes.
You mean like stopping a plague?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You guys are a very small clinic, and you do only have 12 doses of this stuff at the moment.
Yeah.
Are you
flyers
charging people for the cure?
So, okay. So we actually haven't. This is actually a good time to maybe broach the question of like how exactly we are running this.
We have to. We can't run a charity here.
Yeah.
But we can make it basically at cost plus, I don't know, 10%.
All you have to do is make it cheaper than the temple, right?
Oh, the temple will take you for every damn cent you have.
Yes, they will.
Right. So all you have to do is make it cheaper than the temple.
Remember that cheaper than the temple is, oh, you have 500 gold? Okay, it's 499 gold.
Yeah.
Why don't we make it...
Which is why I was going to suggest that, like, I think the way we can do this and have it actually be sustainable and help the people who need it most is to basically just set it up on a graded scale. So like if you have the money to pay, you have to pay, but if you don't have anything, we are not going to turn you away.
Oh, people are gonna love that.
Determine that.
Oh
That's
no!
the question.
I lost my coin purse on my way here, and I have no money.
I mean, that's always the argument that people make, but at the end of the day, like, what are you gonna do? Like,
so unless you are a government entity, you have no real way to do that.
We have to.
We have to charge. We have to charge.
How much does it
something.
cost? How much does it cost? All the ingredients and the time that goes into doing this.
The cost is an abstract thing. It's going to be an operations check. Whether or not you take significant damage to your operations score after the fact is determined by whether or not you are charging people.
Look, here's the thing. Yes, if the result of this is that this is a pandemic. If the result of it is that we end up turning people away, and
It's
not
an
treating
outbreak.
them-
It's not quite a pandemic. Pandemic would
It's
be
an
like the
outbreak.
whole city.
But here's the thing: if we turn people away and don't treat them because they don't have the money to pay, then we're just leaving potential infection vectors out on the street.
But if
And the
we
Mage
don't
Knights will
charge-
scoop them up.
Yes.
But if we don't charge, we aren't able to do this for any longer than what? A few months?
If
I'm
that.
not saying don't.
If that.
I'm not saying don't charge at all. I'm just saying, you know, like the argument, like, if you don't allow any amount of trust in put any amount of faith in people, then you will always end up at the conclusion of defending capitalism. It's
Look,
like,
Just put Chris at the front door with a donations pan that he aggressively shakes on the way out.
like this is why this shitty system continues. Continues because of this logic. It continues because of the logic of, if you help people without an expectation of return, they will take advantage of you. That is the fundamental logic of this system that is designed to keep these people down.
Okay, so how about this? You can be seen by us for free. You can be seen by us, and we may or may not be able to help. If we can help, we have a charge, depending upon what it is.
The
I mean,
alternative,
If we
Sure.
just,
Donations.
I mean, yeah, we can work. Like,
Donations.
at the end of the day, if we don't have the resources, we don't have the resources. But it's not as if, you know, if we spend some of our limited medical resources treating someone who can't pay us, it's not as if we have done something wrong. What we did was we saved a life.
How
Okay, but I just want to interject. Here's the utilitarian thing about that, though. If you go broke and you've only saved a couple dozen people, when you could have just charged people and saved a couple hundred, was that worth it?
Yes, because at least if we save less people, it is fair. It is not exacerbating an already unjust system.
It's not fair to the 82 people that continue to be sick because you wouldn't take payment.
Yes, but it is fair to the people that get saved because their pre-existing background is not a determinant on whether they deserve medicine.
but we are
Instead, it's
currently
first come,
in
first
a
served.
city. But we are currently in a city where everything we exist within a system in this city where we have to charge, or we are unable to help people.
Yeah, and do you want to live under the thumb of that system for the rest of your lives? Because if we capitulate to this shitty system, we're gonna spend the rest of our careers only being constantly limited in what we can do.
So we're doctors, not activists. We have to charge.
Aren't we?
We can't
Because
sustain ourselves.
Rail
without-
against the system. Go ahead.
Because I was under the impression that we started the mending because we wanted to be a change, because we wanted to do something different.
Yes, and we're doing something different. We're bringing real medicine to the people. We're not bringing some snake oil shister here.
Which
We don't have to charge them an exorbitant amount.
which
Just charge them cost and a half.
Cost plus 5%. Seriously, we need to get it out there, but we cannot do it on a shoestring budget.
which people are we
All of
bringing
them.
the medicine to?
As many as we can.
The people who can afford it.
Here's the thing. No matter how you look at this, someone's going to suffer. The way that we mitigate the amount of suffering is by charging people so that we can help more. We can have programs for charity when we get bigger so that we can do stuff.
Or special cases.
You don't know. If we save the life of someone who would not otherwise be able to afford our care, you don't know what that person is going to do in the future.
Right, but what about the guy after him?
Oh, no, I get this. So we shouldn't treat anyone because they might be a mass murderer.
That's not
Natural selection, I like it.
Tonight on the Mending, we discuss
the evils of capitalism.
Yeah. We exist within a constructed society where we have to charge or we cannot help people. To be able to have... No, I'm sorry.
We can help.
We just can't do it for free.
I'm not saying we do it for free.
Well, great.
So
Are you
what are you
charging
saying?
people?
Yes.
What I'm saying is this: if they come to us, we will treat them. If they can't pay, so be it.
If word gets out that you're not charging people, you will very soon find yourself not charging anybody.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
I disagree. I literally, as a player, I disagree. I don't.
You will get some people who will
I
pay,
agree with that.
but the vast majority of people will just show up and be like, "I'm here for my cure. I don't have to pay, right?"
This whole city is run on money, and you get everything that you can get anything that you want with money, and conniving, backstabbing, deceit is at the heart of the whole enterprise.
Within the city, within the context of the game we are playing, players, feelings aside from this, within the context of the game we are playing, if you are not charging people, you will go out of business immediately. The city is built upon...
Immediately, but good luck making it to week 2.
Yeah. This city is built upon taking advantage of anything that you can get your hands on.
Okay,
that
then
you can bend.
Then, okay. I don't want to do this in the middle of a session, but if that's the kind of game we're playing, then fuck that.
Isn't that how? I don't know. I haven't been here for long enough.
I mean, if the premise here is that the city is the way it is because the people who live in it genuinely are just fucking selfish shitheads who will take advantage of anyone else.
The people themselves might not be selfish shitheads, but they live in a society which prioritizes being a selfish shithead for survival. That said, you are more than capable of performing charity, but at your size, it is very unadvisable.
If I could make a suggestion that is a middle ground here. People who come to the clinic get charged. We can go out to the street to do charity for the people who can't afford it, because that's where they'll be.
And you can control how much gets given away that way. I like that idea. But you can't open a donut shop and then on week 2 decide donuts are free to whoever says they can't afford a donut anymore. That's not a sound business practice.
But what we can do is put out a quest to have some people go deliver to us a bunch of Knoll's tongue flowers, as many as they can bring back.
That would be part of your operations check. That would be the cost half of your operation, and then your profit half comes from whether or not you are willing to charge people for this.
We have to charge people for the.
Have to.
We
Do
can.
have to make profit.
We don't have to make
profit. We have to keep the damn lights on.
We have to make enough money to keep ourselves fed. We have
Yeah,
to make enough money to keep ourselves stocked, and we have to have enough money to keep the building running. Everything after that, we do not need.
Also, the
And
5%.
to expand.
The 5% will probably also cover whatever like minor charity things you guys do, like going out into the streets helping people.
Yeah, like at no point did anyone here say we're gonna do this to make money. We're doing this because if we don't have anything to fund this operation, then we get to do it once, maybe twice if we're lucky, and then we're fucking done.
Okay. What I'm going to say, since we've clarified our positions here, my understanding was that the majority of funds were going to come from things other than our primary operation.
What, like light theft?
I mean, you can go do it. You can go do a job if you want.
Well, I wasn't.
The
Well, I mean, that is certainly an option.
Although, like, if you're gonna go do a job, that'll probably be enough to like do whatever the next part of your expansion plan was.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. There are, and on the other hand, there are also
Treating
services
it,
we can.
treating this small outbreak like an opportunity for expansion probably isn't the right way to go about it.
The other thing I'm going to say is there are also plenty of valuable services that we can offer as physicians that are not necessary medical services, but are things that people want. Like, for instance, plastic surgery.
do we have the knowledge? I guess Lucius.
We have
would
a guy
the
who
ability.
stitched six guys together into one guy. I'm sure he can do a boob job.
Twice.
Yeah. That's
but-
the kind of shit. That's the kind of shit I'm perfectly fine paying through the nose for, because nobody needs that, and the people who want it are like rich people.
I'm fine with whatever you guys choose because Chris isn't a doctor and he's always going to be more than willing to just go back to home.
I
But,
mean,
like-
hell, we're necromancers. We can. You wouldn't believe the kind of like non-essential shit we can do to a body if somebody's willing to pay enough.
I'd be careful about using that word too loudly. The Mage Knights were just throwing people into the Dragon Shadow.
Yes, they were. All right. So, are you guys gonna do your best to help out with the outbreak?
Yes.
All in favor? Aye.
Yes.
I.
Whoever's taking point on this, go ahead and give me an operations check. If you are
Do we even have that
proficient,
module loaded?
no, just roll it. Does anybody remember what your operations score was?
Heck no.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Let me see.
Isn't there like a player's notes or something? Or a party notes?
Only when the module's loaded.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
and it's not right.
no, it's not because it was breaking stuff.
Okay. Well,
Fantasy Grounds only gets better.
so
Maybe we load it and then we take a look at it and then we unload it.
Do we?
That requires restarting the
Everyone-
server.
Screenshot.
Do
I'm
we
just-
remember what
Maybe
our?
we say it's a 5. It's a 5.
Do we remember what our organization was?
You were a religious
were,
order.
Yeah. So we lost all of that point assigning we did, didn't we?
Yes, but I'm willing to. I'm gonna check the religious order to see what the default is, and then I can probably infer what we did, because I remember we didn't have any malices, and our lowest score was a 0.
Okay.
I feel like it was a 3 in operations, but
Operation
Think-
starts at
Two.
+1. I think you guys had it up to +2.
I couldn't tell you in the slightest what we chose to specialize in.
I think you guys
Probably.
chose to specialize in diplomacy and
diplomacy?
lore. I think is what you
Yeah,
guys wanted to
sounds about
specialize
right.
in.
Yeah, it sounds about
But I
right.
believe you had a +2 in operations. So you can. Oh wait, there's also the specialization you guys took.
I don't think we put anything into defenses.
I think Chris did. I think I specifically put a point towards something defensively or offensively. I can't remember. I can't remember what the thing looks like, so I can't.
But he definitely assigned a point at the very least.
Yes.
So go ahead and make that operations check. Whomever was making the check, if you are proficient in either, I'm going to say the alchemist's kit or a medicine, you can add your proficiency bonus.
Okay, I'll make it. So what's our operations? +2?
+2.
It's +2, and you're gonna add your proficiency on top of that.
Okay, so yeah, +4 total.
It sounds like Chrysiopia has taken the lead on this, so this is what she's doing for the next couple days, is running this operation. 11.
Guidance wouldn't work on this, would it?
No. Because this is something that
Yeah.
takes place over like several days.
Yeah. It's worth a shot.
So, while your efforts are enough to help a couple people, and you get a couple more, you manage to get like a couple more trips back from the tribe lands with some more flowers, and you manage to produce several more doses. You managed to help, I'm going to say, about 17 more people before this whole ordeal is finished, in cases stop coming in. The hardest part was getting the word out that you not only had a that you were not only like available to help, but that your help actually like worked. Like you had like a real cure. Getting that level of trust is difficult. But you did manage to help about 17 people who wouldn't have been helped otherwise. You paid them enough to cover your operations costs. They paid you enough to cover your operations costs. So your resources don't go down any. So you got like a modest amount. Your reputation doesn't really go up because like the word of mouth of 17 people isn't gonna really do much for you, but you are slightly more well known. Like I'm gonna say like your business picks up a little bit afterwards.
It's 17 people and their friends and families.
Yeah, it's 17 people and whomever they know. Like, oh, hey, they cured my cackling fever. And people like, oh, wow, an apothecary that can actually cure something. That's great.
Yeah.
So, like, you get a little bit more traffic, but it's not like, like you notice it, but it's not like, oh, wow, we're suddenly the hot new thing on the street.
Business has increased by 10%, not 50.
Yeah. But yeah, you do manage to help folks out. Cool. Evils of capitalism aside. So what are you guys going to do next?
Expand.
Expansion! How you doing that?
Aggressively.
Question mark.
So,
Profit.
Chrysippe has been compiling a list of resources that would be ideal for acquisition. The thing I'm thinking in character and as a player are basically like new buildings, if at all possible. I think that's basically going to be our version of territory expansion, because we're not controlling territory exactly.
Yeah. It's
we
think of it kind of like like in SimCity or like City Skylines, where like you build a hospital and it has like this area of influence.
Right, exactly.
It's
That's what I'm
kind of like
thinking.
that.
It's like we acquire new whatever, and then that expands the amount of people that we can reliably serve.
Yeah. So right now, your small clinic can reliably serve about the 1 mile area, and even then, like if that like whole area was solely coming to you guys for help, you wouldn't really be able to handle it. But
Right.
you are currently the best option for people who are sick in this 1 mile area to come for help. Whether or not they're aware of that is another question.
So, to that end, Chrysopia has been looking around the local area for potential acquisitions. In particular, she's been looking for one, anything that could serve as like an apothecary garden. Just any patch of land that could potentially be converted to a greenhouse. Because as we have seen now, pretty much like that's been a major bottleneck for us. So if we can establish a reliable supply of key medical ingredients, that would be great. If we can, the other thing that I think we need to do, which I talked about in the metagame channel, but for those of you who missed it, I think our biggest problem, other than a lack of supplies, our biggest problem other than a lack of supplies is a lack of personnel. Because like we could build another clinic easily. The problem is that we don't have anyone to staff it.
Like you barely have people to staff this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we need is to, and honestly, the only people in the city who actually, to my understanding, who actually teach like scientific medicine are the cult that we came from.
Correct.
Which means that we need to do some of that stuff. And to that end, I suggest we either acquire a lecture hall, which should be pretty easy considering we're in the college, or since we're going to need ways of rapidly training up new physicians, a source of cadavers.
Some research
Might
materials.
I suggest a crematorium?
Yes.
Bodies in Bastion are traditionally burned. Real estate is hard to come by. Cemeteries are practically non-existent. For the most part, you have like mausoleum for the rich. Those tend to be guarded pretty carefully.
Tribe lands.
Yeah, you could go digging bodies up at the tribe lands, but then you got to get them through the border, and then you got to also deal with a bunch of pissed off tribesmen. From what I hear, they tend to be a little testy about disrespecting of the ancestors.
Yeah.
Well, we could set up a lab over there where we.
There's also the problem
study.
of like, even if we did dig up bodies in the tribe lands, if we're using this for medical training, we want them to be as fresh as possible
and as non-beat up as possible.
Yeah.
Also, good luck taking a scalpel to some of like those iron muscled works. Like,
yeah.
What about the what do they call it? The arena, the gladiatorial combat.
That's another thing I was thinking. It's possible that we could work out some kind of deal with the arena. Maybe we could send students over there so they can get some like emergency medical training.
That sounds like a bad idea. Just on the.
I was gonna say you're gonna try and steal bodies from the arena, but no.
No. We're not gonna. Well, I mean, we weren't gonna steal. We might not have to steal bodies from the arena. No, because they probably want those bodies, don't they?
Yeah, I don't think the arena's going to give up their honored dead.
No. The thing I was suggesting is like we can send like students over and like someone to supervise them and just like work out a deal with Arena. It's like, hey, we'll be your combat medic.
Yeah.
Our
We
students
have a
will get
work
some
study
training.
program.
You'll get free labor.
I like the
it's not a
crematorium idea because they will just give you corpses.
And they won't be able to tell the difference between Nana and a pile of oak logs that have been burned.
I mean, they might.
Or
if
it can
they
be
know what
in
I...
our paperwork. It can be in our paperwork that they sign that.
we get to experiment on Grandma before we cook her.
Yeah, that sounds like something that everyone's going to love the idea of in a place where experimentation on the dead is generally done by a cult.
I love the faith in humanity here, but unfortunately, yeah, that's going to get us investigated by the church immediately.
Yep. Also, people would definitely take you up on that. If it got them like a steep discount on the cremation, I guarantee you they'd be like, oh yeah, no, if it only cost me like 20 gold instead of 50 to cook Grandma, sure. Skin the bitch, then cook her. She ain't gonna care.
Yeah, the problem is, I almost feel like in Bastion that might be a little too good of a deal. And
Then we'd start getting questionably sourced bodies.
Yeah.
The
church might
Marchitelli
also
like,
take
it's
notice.
so much cheaper.
Yeah.
Yes,
Actually,
the church might also take notice.
yeah. The thing is like,
At a certain point, the church will notice you guys. Like if you keep growing, the church is an inevitability.
How resilient can we manage to get before they start?
Yeah. Especially since you guys aren't beating the cult allegation.
No. But like as far as like this, like, you know, obviously it's not ideal to trick people about how their loved ones are being handled, but
that's a problem for the eulogists.
I have an alternate suggestion so we're not tricking people about their loved ones, but it may be far more dangerous.
What's your suggestion?
The Marchitelli do organized crime all the time. Do we want to try applying ourselves as body disposal specialists?
That could be very messy. And
It
also
could be very messy, but it definitely wouldn't be tricking people about their loved ones.
It also implicates us as accessories to the crimes.
To be fair, if we get investigated, we're already fucked as is, so it's not like we'll be worse.
Also, the Marchitelli, if I recall, are very much not fans of the cult right now. And we do not beat the cult accusations.
But at the same time, Trismegistus was working with them.
The implication there is that they didn't know he was working with them. Also, he doesn't reside within. I think we have figured out that he doesn't reside there.
Yeah,
and
we don't reside there either.
But this could be the first time we actually, when somebody asks if we're members of a cult, we say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than immediately folding.
See, the issue with Trismegistus was they presumably didn't know he was a cultist of Mayol. We have told literally everyone we come across that we're former cultists. I have a dude made of 5 different bodies in the basement.
I have a dude made of 5 dudes.
I want you to know, Crispy has only ever told one person, and it was only as a leap of faith to try to convince them to work with us. And
so that person...
only after he had decided in his own mind that we were cultists anyway, so there was nothing we could possibly lose.
By the way, for the future, I want you guys to know. For the future, I want you guys to know, the Marchitelli coming to you guys to dispose of bodies illegally was something I'd already had planned before you came up with it.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
I will say it is.
So when it happens, it was my idea first.
It is a pretty obvious thing.
It is.
I mean,
I think the smart thing to do would be to buy a crematorium and just like be okay with the Marchitelli stopping by from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, we can do both.
They'll
Like,
pay us handsomely for silence.
Yeah, and they still get a discount on what they would normally be dealing with.
I think that's about. I like those things are about equal in moral uncomfortableness. So yeah.
I mean, at some point we just have to accept that we are the monsters in this age and just deal with it.
Sometimes we do bad things.
I
do
have
bad-
said it. I have said it on many occasions in this campaign. Good people do not get ahead in Bastion without significant effort.
You are
to
bad
clarify,
guy.
Like,
This does not mean that you are bad guy.
like, yeah, no, like making, doing questionable things for the sake of,
The greater good.
expanding.
Or,
Yeah, for the sake
it's-
of the greater good, like, to an extent, yes. Also, Principia has seen firsthand where that leads you in the end, if it's followed to its logical extreme.
Well, we don't have to follow it to its logical extreme.
I have many such
probably
cases
will.
in the city already.
We
That means
probably
we have-
will.
That means we
Uh,
have someone on hand who has a better sense of when to pull the brakes.
Also, just like I think during that discussion, I'm imagining like the six of us were probably like deep, like during the outbreak, we were just like deep in the clinic, just like debating this whole like payment issue. And I think you guys probably got the impression that like this is touching on something personal for her. She kept bringing up this thought of like the circumstances of your birth and how they determine your outcomes in life. And she seems very like personally affected by the idea that someone could be born into a life and just fucked because of it.
I mean, I don't know if Chris ever thinks that deep on anything. He's just like, wow, Chrissiopia is kind of talkative about this.
Yeah.
Incoherent.
Chris has surface level thoughts at best.
That's what we appreciate
As
about
an-
Chris.
As an aside, like, Chris is also just straight up the product of the circumstances of his birth.
Twice.
So yeah. Have we decided what we're doing? We're gonna find a
I think-
crematorium. We're gonna
I
find
think-
a crematorium and try to take
Yeah.
it over.
Or possibly build our own. Like, convert a building somewhere on the edge.
Building your
Uh,
own
do
will
we
always be
want-
easier than
Yeah.
buying one, because buying one requires finding one.
I think
No, hang on.
Well, I was gonna follow that with there is very little that isn't in some way, shape, or form for sale in Bastion.
No, hear me out. We find a crematorium, right? We pull a Scooby-Doo. Make them think it's haunted.
I've had
so that they're
I've
forced
had-
to sell it.
I've had Scooby-Doo on a loop on my television the last 2 days.
I mean, we do have a guy who looks like a walking corpse, and then we
Yeah.
have an actual walking corpse.
And I can do minor illusion. It's fine. Or I can do a silent image. That's even better.
No, I think we just. My personal thought is we just
Look,
set up a new
look.
crematorium, because then we
Look,
can set it up the way we want.
I was about.
Look,
I-
I'm 100% down to do a fucking Scooby-Doo plot, but I'm just gonna address the elephant in the room of what happens when a eulogist shows up and realizes there's no ghosts.
Okay, that's fair.
Worse, what happens when a eulogist shows up and realizes there are two undead?
Oh yeah, that's spicy.
As
Yep.
as a third point, what happens when the eulogist shows up and they're Argos, but it's not the ones we thought they were?
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I guess my only objection to like building one from scratch is like, but the incinerators would be expensive, and then I remembered there aren't going to be any incinerators.
Oh no, we're still incinerating something because we don't want to just keep the bodies laying around.
Oh well, then
Yeah,
the
you
point
need
still
something to do
stands.
with the bodies after the fact. But like,
Then the point still stands. Then like that equipment is not cheap.
I mean, neither would be buying even a haunted crematorium. So like, either way, you're
I
gonna need to
think-
find a good job.
I think the smart thing to do would be build our own because then it can be laid out in a way for teaching.
That's
And
the
we
point.
can
Quick question. What class is Chrysiopeia?
She's a wizard.
Oh, so you can learn Gentle Repose.
I can. In fact, if we got me a spell scroll, I could transcribe it into my spell book. The only reason I haven't taken it is just because I get 2 spells per level, and I've had better options.
Yeah.
Getting a spell scroll of Gentle Repose will be difficult. You'll have to go on the black market for that.
Yeah,
Oh, right,
because
necromancy
it's
spell.
necromancy. Wait, no, hang on. Wait a minute. So I remember once that we established that like, aren't refrigerators in this setting basically like a magic gentle repose?
Yes, but they get a pass.
So we just need a bunch of refrigerators.
And the ability to reverse engineer.
The Genarthi kind of made a sizable donation to the Church of Zazakiel in order to get them to look the other way on these preservation chests that are essentially refrigerators.
I like Caelan's suggestion. Play the succession card. But
What
yeah,
if we just buy a large refrigerator?
yeah, like we can just hell, actually, like if we get do places, I have to imagine that like restaurants probably have like do they make like walk-in versions of those?
No,
don't-
those would actually have like cold room where it would be more of a
Okay.
traditional.
Please bring
Walk-in
your dead
freezer.
friends and family to our restaurant. I promise we're not doing with the bodies what you think.
So
it's
the
actually
thing is,
so much worse.
Also,
Last chance crematorium.
also, I'm willing to bet that in Bastion there was no fantasy clean food and drug act.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
we
Yeah,
don't
that's
need
fair.
we don't need to keep a bunch of bodies though. We need to keep one at a time while we're studying it, and then we'll chuck it into the incinerator. We'll stick
Well,
the next one in once it's all carved up.
It depends on the volume of students you're looking to produce. Like, probably going to
Yeah.
need
Also,
several
guys-
dozen bodies at
Guys,
any one
there's
minute.
there's 6 of us. We're going to have a student or 2.
You're going to be
Yeah.
years
when
at
we
this
get-
then.
Let's
No, listen. When we get up, we cannot. There's 6 of us. How are we going to teach a group of 30 students how to do this when we don't have room to turn around without bumping into each other in our
I
I also
don't
wanna
know how the
point out-
medical
Start
schools
small.
do it, where you have one guy teaching
Also-
30 people.
Yeah.
Just
Also,
start
yeah, I was about
small.
to say. Also, I want to point out. You say there's 6 of us. There are 2 of us, and I use that number very lightly. That could teach people how to do medical shit.
Exactly.
Oh, right.
So we
3
start
if we want to
small.
go into pharmacology.
Oh, really, Lucius? And why do you use that number lightly?
The light number. It's only 2.
God.
It's like
Here
the
we go
third
again.
lightest number you can have.
Are
Hey,
you
guys, I
suggesting
gotta
that one
go.
of us isn't qualified?
Okay.
Bye.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
Nadira.
Sorry, I've got clinical, so I'll catch you
It
guys
happens.
next time.
I have
Good
fun
luck.
doing actual doctor stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Nadira's
her job-
working on medicine proficiency right now. We're gonna have 3.
Nadira Nadira might be the most actually medically sound person here. I don't know what the rest of you do for a living, but
Not medicine.
Nope.
I did medicine for a while, but not professionally. I mean, I was a CNA, so
I've
That
done.
counts.
I've applied
Professional.
band-aids on the clock. Does that count?
I do drugs sometimes.
When you
I'll
said
say-
I've done medicine, but not professionally, I'll
I've-
admit, my mind immediately went to, "Oh, you were a back alley doctor."
I've
Yes.
received more than the average amount of medical care.
I didn't have I was not certified, but yes, I was functionally a CNA.
Anyways,
Back to the thing at hand.
Yeah, training on cadavers. We'll probably need more than just one cadaver at a time, is the consensus.
Yes.
Yes, but
I
we'll
think-
probably start off with just a couple of students at first, and then as we grow in reputation and as we grow in area and influence, then perhaps we can scale up and have more bodies and more
We're not
crematoriums
just
and
gonna-
more
I
whatever.
think each
We're
of
not
you
gonna
could do
s-
2 people.
We're not just going to start with an open symposium. Just anyone who wants to see a body get cut open, show up to the mending at blank.
Well, it's a question, right? Because like, what is? Yeah, obviously, like a higher student to teacher ratio would be ideal, from a quality perspective. But like, we're trying to staff an entire clinic as quickly as possible.
Right, but here's the catch. If you attract attention for all the wrong reasons, we all get tossed into the sky shadow at best for being cultists or killed for being cultists.
Maybe
So
we can start a
we
clinic
have
in the shadow.
well
Yeah.
we have to we have to be
Definitely use
discerning in
one.
our first groups of students, because we have to get people who want this for the right reasons and who aren't going to go running off and reporting this to the wrong people at the wrong time. It's really hard to convince them that we're not cultists when the rest of that sentence is anymore.
also
So-
while you are actively stealing bodies to cut up.
Exactly.
Actually, strictly speaking, we don't have to be stealing the bodies. If we are running a crematorium, we could be running it as a legitimate business, and then the
No, we discussed that.
We're just over here. Actually, the page you signed never said when we would burn the bodies.
So the thing is, we can be a little bit duplicitous about this, right? If we're running a crematorium, you can only burn so many bodies a day, right? And so we'll just pick a corpse at random, probably one of the ones from the Marchitelli, and put it in the fridge to be studied later. And then anybody else, like, oh yeah, we haven't burned grandma yet because there's a lot of other grandmas we have to burn first. We'll let you know as soon as it's done. And then you're only keeping the body for what, 5 to 10 days before we burn it, before it's no longer useful in the per the spell. It's good for 10 days. Gentle
yeah,
repose.
if it's basically a artifact version of gentle repose, and it can keep it fresh for 10 days.
Right. And it's just whatever you put in there stays fresh for 10 days, but it's not like you can keep reapplying the effect.
Nope.
No, probably not. So, yeah, okay, so that makes sense. So like we don't even have to like burn a log or whatever. Like they're not going to notice if the body was dissected before it was cremated.
They're not going to notice
Plus-
if it's
No,
the right
we can-
body.
Plus,
We
there's
can-
something else that we can do with this. We can have multiple cohorts of students, and on Mondays, you guys get the body, these two, and you've got a primary and a secondary, and they're watching, and then 3 more looking over their shoulders. And on Tuesdays, they get the body, and on Wednesdays, and that's 10 days a week, right? Because we
You
have
could
10.
you could Ponzi scheme the
You could
crap
just-
out of this crematorium. Just saying. You don't have to
could
give
act-
them their grandma.
I'm just thinking like as far as the like taking in students. So the way I pictured the cult doing it, and maybe this is a bit of like world building that hasn't been established, is like it's layered, right? This is the way that cults operate. They always operate in layers and layers, and the first layer never seems like a cult.
Nope.
The first layer is casual, it's open to the public, it seems legitimate, it's to get people talking to you, and then once you've sussed them out and see if they're ready for the next layer, you bring them in one layer in.
In fact,
And
what
they
you
get-
guys are currently talking about doing is pretty much exactly the first layer of the cult of Bane.
Yeah.
They're a little bit shadier about it, but they're like, hey, we can teach you how to like heal people with your hands instead of magic.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have to we can start softer than that. We can say, hey, we're just doing some first aid training as a public service, right?
I was gonna say basic first aid can't be that hard to teach.
Right, exactly. We can run them through that. If they show promise and they're interested in learning more, we can gradually bring them in. At some point, if we've sussed them out and are reasonably certain that they're not going to call the cops on us, we can start inviting them to the dissection studies and start bringing them into the proper medical training.
As an aside, I can tell you exactly how long it takes to do some basic first aid training. It takes you an afternoon because I was CPR certified.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, I know how long it takes you to join a cult.
Well, I know the answer
I'm
to
like,
that,
Sorrow,
too.
you don't need to share that.
Yeah, just I was so worried that we were gonna. Yeah. Anyway.
No, I was just gonna leave that out of it, but you know.
And here's the thing, the way it works is you have it in a series of concentric rings. You only give people a little bit of extra dirt on you at a time, and only after you've determined that they're ready for it. And that way you minimize the amount of vulnerability that you have if they decide to cross you. And
also, you need to make sure that they're dirty. You get their heads dirty at the time you do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other part of it. When you bring them up to the next level, you need to make sure that they're as guilty as you are.
And we also need to make sure that they're paying us for the knowledge, right?
Actually, I have no problem saying we should be charging for this.
Yes. Yes, I'm in support of this. Let's make a school and do it like that and be culty about it, but less male culty and more mending culty.
Look, you were up to your elbows in grandma too. You're just as culpable. The Mage Knights will get you too. You gotta get them dirty.
Yeah.
I do think we need to be charging for the medical expertise that you guys are passing on.
So that would
okay.
That would just be part of your that would just be like a net zero, because presumably these people that you train would then be working for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it'd be less that you're training them and more that or it'd be less that you're charging them for an education and more that you are creating indentured servants.
Well, we're creating a loan that they pay back in operating their clinic in the nearby area and just pay it back to the primary billing partner.
It's basically
That's an
indentured
servant.
No, okay, hang on. It's an apprenticeship, right? I mean, that is traditionally how an apprenticeship is run, right?
Indentured servant, yeah.
Yeah,
I owe you a debt that I pay back with labor. That is an indentured servant.
Yeah, I think that's fine, right? If
I am fine taking free labor for having someone to shove the bodies into the crematorium.
What? So Chris doesn't eat them?
Actually, no, that's a good
delicious
point.
bodies.
I do get a cut.
The choicest cuts.
Chris just reaching in there. There is a point when they're perfectly done.
Jesus Christ.
And it depends on what species they were.
My elf I prefer medium rare, but my orc has to be well done.
Yeah, he's just over here.
Because of the parasites.
Some of the Dragonborn take way longer.
Jesus Christ.
Really, you gotta smoke a Dragonborn overnight.
Let's say red Dragonborn, you have to smoke for at least 36 hours.
Don't eat tiefling. It's got a weird taste.
Anyway,
The
No
white
matter
dra-
what you do, you can't get the sulfur out.
the silver dragonborn take less time. In fact, sometimes they're done best as a pate.
You just
I
you
really
just
vote
sear it
Chris
and you're
to
good.
be training crematorium employees.
Chris is
So-
just starting his own side cult, and it's just cannibals.
is that where we're landing on this? Like the education is free technically, quote unquote, but like they're paying like it's working out to a net zero because they're also staffing our clinic.
Yes.
I mean-
so we're shooting for the exact same people that the cult normally goes for, so we can have more conflict with the people we're trying to stop as well.
That was
We're
gonna
poaching their people.
that was gonna happen anyway.
Yes, it was.
Yes, I am fine with giving quote unquote free education with the caveat that they will eventually be working for us.
Yeah, and it's like it's not even like it's an unfair imposition. Like they want to be healers. It's not a huge ask to ask them to do the job they want.
Are
to
we
do.
about to franchise medicine?
Yes.
I mean, hell, like they need the experience anyway. Don't they have you do clinical rotations in med school?
Yes. Actually, you don't even have to be in med school. You can just be in nursing school.
Let's go grab Nadira real quick. I'm sure she can answer this. What's she
Heck,
doing tomorrow?
You don't even need to be in nursing school. If you've got like a nice coat and a pretend in a passing enough name tag, they just let you do it. Like,
Okay, so I think we're settled on the details of this.
The
The-
medical equivalent of a ladder. I like it.
The thing we haven't, yeah, you just get one of those old timey reflector visor things.
Yeah.
That no one will ever. you know, Chrysopia owns one of those. But the detail we haven't discovered, we haven't figured out. How are we going to afford this place?
Crime.
you're gonna have to find some work.
Hey, wouldn't it be ironic to fund this by going to the Marchitelli and be like, hey, we could dispose of some bodies for you if you are willing to front us the money to start?
I don't think
No, let's make it a legitimate business loan.
I.
Yeah,
The-
so you want to
we
make
do
it
not
a
want to be in the
legitimate
debt of the
business loan
Marchitelli.
to the mob.
Yeah, that is a
I mean-
bad idea.
I mean, what's the worst that happens? They break your knees. You're the doctors. You just fix them afterwards.
No,
Oh,
Heck,
it's
we
not-
have a guy who can take some from a body that we
I'm
have
sorry.
and just put them in you.
I'm sorry. You want to know what's the worst that can happen when you're in debt to the Marchitelli? We had a whole fucking campaign about what's the worst that can happen.
What are they
So
gonna
here's the
do?
thing, we
What are they gonna
we
do?
don't get
Burn
in debt-
down your crematorium?
I mean, hell,
We don't get in
they
debt
can't-
with them. Go ahead, Zoro.
I was gonna say, like, they can't really threaten to kill us. Two of us are already dead, and one of us is halfway there.
So, but the thing is, in all seriousness, we don't need to get in debt with the Marchitelli for this. Can we scrape up enough to get a crematorium together or get started on that? And if so, then we approach them with a business deal that says, you give us bodies, we burn them for cheaper, and we don't ask questions.
You do not have the capital to outright purchase a. You're gonna need to do
we
a job.
rent the crematorium? Or can we do a job to do that? Let's find a
Yeah,
job to do that.
You're gonna
But
need to
that-
do a
that needs
job
to
if
be a
you want the
long-term-
crematorium.
Let's do a heist.
We could do a heist. Yes, we could
Yes,
steal
this
some
is-
art. We
This
could.
is what I'm saying. Okay, so I was thinking about this because I did make the suggestion of some light robbery. Now, in the Wildfire campaign, which Zoro, I know that you weren't here for, we did an armored car heist. No,
Here's an idea.
we did a heist in the Wildfire. We did a heist. Technically two.
What if we got into cosmetics? What if we
I actually have-
sold? What if we sold some glamour potions for a while? That you have no concern, Chris Soap. You have no concern with selling glamour people to ugly or glamour potions to ugly rich people.
Yeah. That
Why did you
Is-
say rich people twice?
that
Uh,
is
You're right.
that is what was going to be my suggestion for like a long-term source of income But in terms of like an immediate cash flow, we have established that the Skytram has fairly weak security and often carries cargo, right?
Oh no. No, that seems like a really bad idea.
Let's do a train heist!
Do you
Come
guys?
on, it's a
Hey,
classic! Train heist!
have you ever watched Firefly?
I have not. I've seen the first episode.
Okay, let me tell you. There's a train heist. There's a train heist episode. It's great. They go in, they take the stuff out of the train. They discover that it's medicine and food to go to like a starving women's and children's survivor camp. Okay,
Yeah.
that is what Zach is going to do to us. If we heist the train, we're going to be stealing the stuff that's going to women and children in need. This is Zach here.
Which is why...
So I'm gonna let you know logistically it will be rather difficult. When the Skytram isn't stationary, it is going 80 miles an hour, 6 stories up.
The way you get away with a heist like that is you don't let them know you're being heisted.
You'd have to do it while it's at station. Only at station for about 15. It's only at station for about 10 minutes while it unloads and reloads people.
And there's people there while it's doing the
And
thing.
it's pretty busy.
Actually, we have established that, like, because the way I got through the station checkpoints the first time to get us out of the city was I just pretended to work there.
Yeah, you posed as a
And then I
roustabout.
hid, and then I hid in the cargo.
Yeah.
So, what are we going to be? What are we hoping to steal from it? Are we going to be able to track a decent package for it? Or are we just going to show up and hope that this one isn't a shipment of just, I don't know, plague blankets and used,
See,
fabric?
that's part of planning the heist. Is you'd have to find out when it would be carrying something worth stealing.
We'd have
And
to
then how are we
steal
going to get it out of there? Like,
We'd have
are we
to
going to hop
Yeah,
in and then force the door open and slow
Stealing-
fall out?
Stealing
I
a
think if
manifest
we
will
could-
only tell you what was planned to be on it for that day. You'd have to know about a shipment ahead of time. You need someone to tip you off if you're looking for something like truly valuable to be on that train.
Well, we can potentially bribe someone at the station.
With what money?
Someone at the station, or ideally, you would be looking to rob a specific person as they use the train as transport.
That's true. I mean, the thing I was picturing was like, we'll go for the cargo, but like if we're on there anyway, we can rob the passengers blind. What are they gonna do? Jump off the train?
I would
What are
like
we
to
going to do? Jump off the train?
I would like to put forth that we don't have to jump off the train, or even do this while the train is moving. We know that security can be very lax at the loading and unloading points.
Yeah.
I literally walked in
We do.
while there was a manhunt for members of the cult.
We do still need a plan for actually transporting the cargo out. I think Hollow is going to be our best bet.
Then we need a fence.
Yep.
Who's not going to report us?
Need a
We don't
fence.
know any fences.
Yeah. Fortunately.
Also,
We're not heisty people.
Not yet, at least.
we do have like I
Train
as much
heist
as I hate
is
to say
typically
this-
something you need to build up to.
As much as I hate to say this, we do also have a good chunk of vigilance.
Could sell the vigilance.
No.
Absolutely not.
Only to the rich people.
Absolutely
Could
not.
then sell it to the poors for a profit.
There is. No.
Also, if you want Trismegistus to start coming after you guys personally, finding out that there's someone else out there selling his product is probably a good way to do it.
Also, we don't have it anymore. Nadira turned it all into an addiction treatment.
For the most part, yeah.
Right, well that makes it perfect for microdosing to get the rush without the danger.
Not
And
how
you
that
don't,
works.
you don't get the
Yes.
rush.
I don't know how. I don't do drugs.
Yeah.
In case
Uh,
it wasn't obvious before.
So that is one suggestion. It might have to be something where we need to be higher level for. But like, we were 4th level when we did the armored car heist, although admittedly the armored car heist was on the ground.
We
was
were
on the
also
ground.
heisty people. We had a fence, and we knew where we were taking it. Like, I'm not saying we don't possess the skills. We don't possess the people knowledge, though. We have no network
you don't have the
spies.
infrastructure.
We don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have no social infrastructure on this. We don't have people sourcing stuff. We don't have people to sell it to. We don't have people that are going to try to keep people off our backs.
Okay, so what's the alternative?
So actually,
Name a
here's an idea.
Well, you've
We
gotten
do
jobs
have-
before.
I do have an alternative idea. We have sewer access. We could do like just a regular heist. We could crawl in from the sewers and then disappear in the sewers in the middle of the night. We live in a district filled with magic. There's got to be something worth stealing.
There's all kinds
Yeah,
of stuff worth.
There's all kinds of stuff worth stealing. The question is, what do we hit? Because that's going
Well,
to determine.
presumably we would, scope around and find stuff out.
Yeah.
Like we don't suddenly just go, like, having played in this campaign for nearly 10 years now. You don't get to go, hey Zach, we're gonna do a heist, and he suddenly goes, oh, wouldn't you know it? There's a thing going right by your building.
So
We're gonna have to do some legwork to find out what's
You-
valuable.
You got a
around
case
us.
of joint.
Here's-
You got all this. You got to go through all the steps.
Here's an idea. There's a whole bunch of snake oil salesmen all around us that presumably have some element of pharmaceutical ingredients, right?
Hmm.
It's just they mix it with bad shit all the time.
They even
What
the
if we
stuff
hit
that is
them?
useful, they cut to hell.
What if we hit them? What if we take all their ingredients?
But then we're not selling that.
Why not? We can turn
Well-
it into good shit, like, I don't know, glamours, which people will buy pay exorbitant prices
Yeah.
for.
I mean, even if we're not turning it to glamours and stuff, if we just take the shit that is effective from them and use it to run our business, suddenly we're not spending the money getting that shit anymore.
Exactly. And here's the thing, guys. This can take us several of weeks, if not months, of in-game time. We don't have to be running like a class next week.
Yeah.
This could be an action that we
My-
work toward over the
I-
course of
my
some
my
in-game
only
time.
thing is just like, so yeah, I mean, I guess like my thing was like, just as from a player perspective, like a basic smash and grab of a apothecary doesn't exactly sound like the most exciting adventure.
It also isn't going to buy you.
It's also-
It's also not going to buy you a crematorium.
And it's
Yeah.
also something we've done this campaign.
That's why
You'd have to be
That's
any
what-
like 60 apothecaries to buy a crematorium.
I'm saying we do the legwork to see what is actually valuable around here worth stealing.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you, if
like-
you're
Yeah,
looking if you're
I-
looking to purchase a crematorium outright, you're going to need to do a big job, something on the level of the train heist, like Soap was talking about, but something actually within your guys' reach.
Well,
So-
fortunately for us, we've already done a number on the ghosts, and they're probably not gonna work with us. So we don't have anybody wanting to feed jobs to us.
The ghosts
Yes.
might be not interested in working with you. However, you do have still the reputation you earned with the ghosts that you might be able to flex in something else.
What is
Could
the reputation we earned with them?
Mercenaries who don't ask questions and get shit done.
You've done a
Which
few
is-
jobs with the ghosts. The ghosts have talked. You can just be like, hey, that job in the bazaar? That was us.
And
that
the person
kind of
might
thing.
say, "Oh yeah, the ghost said you guys absolutely sucked because you threw it all in their faces."
And we
So what are you
lived.
gonna do for me?
And lived.
Yeah,
So are
We-
we thinking of like trying to contact them to fence for us?
no.
no.
No, just
No,
use that
no, ghosts are
reputation
out
to
there
find
entirely.
other work with people who
Okay.
aren't
Well-
the ghosts.
The reputation is already tarnished because because if somebody's looking for people who are able to do stuff and get it done, and stay on quiet and be loyal about it. And the ghosts are talking about how, oh, don't listen to those guys because here's the reputation. They'll get it done until they decide, fuck you, I'm not going to get it done. And then they will throw it all in your face and kill your men out while they're at it. Right? That's not the reputation that you want to have as a mercenary for hire group. It's like, yeah, we'll do it until it's good. And
Give
then,
me a
fuck you, we're
streetwise.
done.
Give me a streetwise check.
Anyone?
Anyone.
Which okay, I got this.
That's just a straight.
I got a
correct.
+4 in streetwise. That makes it a 7. I fucking love it.
Oh my god.
Oh, you did better than I did.
Good thing I'm a charisma class.
Yep.
Whoops, I
That was
clicked
a
twice.
straight D20 for
Neither
me.
one of
Both
them were
them
good.
bad, though.
Chris, you're out in the world enough that you have a pretty decent sense for these things. I'm just gonna whisper. I like this.
Alrighty.
The other problem is like we stopped doing mercenary work for a reason, because we stopped doing mercenary work because when you're doing mercenary work, you have no control over what it is you're actually doing, and at a certain point, that logic of like doing bad for the greater good starts to break down.
Yeah, they had us doing
Awful shit.
awful shit to people who didn't deserve it. At least if we take down all the shister apothecaries in the area, it's not glamorous. It doesn't make us a lot of money, but it takes out shitty people from doing shitty things to otherwise potentially good people.
Yeah.
Okay, as a note, I can see that. I don't know how to respond to that though.
It should
because
just be
I
like
can't.
/W.
Okay, my bad.
So can we take stuff? So if we're applying some heuristics, what would an ideal target be for us? It would have to be somewhere close, because we don't want. Ideally, we don't want to try to transport whatever we steal across a gate. Because at best, it's gonna cost us even more money to bribe the gate attendant.
Here's an
So-
idea.
So it's gotta be. Sorry, go ahead.
What if we find a wealthy, or at least moderately wealthy, and suitably good aligned, lawful good, or whatever we want to be, patron? We say, hey, we're interested in helping heal people for a living, and we just need a better way to do this. Can you front? We'll do things for you.
Yeah, you could totally find a patron. It'd be like a kind of like a Rilladel situation.
Exactly. What if we found a patron?
That could work. I'm not opposed to it.
So as a point here, how do I'm trying to think of how to. As I recall, we were all pretty well understood that the ghosts were kind of like franchisees, correct? Like that's how their organization is set up.
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, you're in the ghosts, but like the Western Wand ghosts are not the same organization as like the freaking Tarnished Glen ghost.
That honestly, God, I'm trying to think of how to. This might. God, my brain just like collapsed on itself trying to think of how to state this without just like verbatim saying what you put for me. With the way that they have interacted with us, maybe not every organization is the biggest fan of how they operate. It could be that some other job organizations might be interested in us because we kind of said screw you to the ghosts.
I mean, they
We could do that too.
we can. I mean, yeah, like I'm not opposed to it in principle, but like, if we can find someone who will actually tell us what the job is, not try to hide details from us, and allow us to take it or leave it, then yeah, I would be okay with that.
So an organization that does mercenary work, but the mercenary work is like protecting people as opposed to ripping people off.
Well, that would be
I mean-
legitimate mercenary work, and that comes with like licenses.
Can we get licensed? How hard would that be?
It costs money.
Not that
And
hard.
I imagine a few of us it might be a little difficult to get licenses for.
It might be a little
Most-
bit difficult.
Mostly the undead and the ones who look like they've been experimented on.
Yeah.
Wild shot in the dark. Are the Woad Warriors looking for interns?
Constantly. If I recall, the Road Warriors love them some red shirts. Oh, hey, your guys' robes are red, right?
Yeah, they are.
No. We changed the color of our robes, remember?
I don't know. I just like. I'm fine with that, but just like our last campaign was basically just episodic mercenary work.
If you guys want to try to find someone who's willing to front the money for this enterprise, I am down with that. But we have to be like so low key about that to start with.
I think here's my thing.
Also,
So
so there is a caveat with getting a patron. You do have to do what the patron asks.
yeah, and
You essentially
that's-
become indentured servants yourselves.
yeah, and that's the. It could work, but it's being beholden to someone.
The whole point of this is for you guys to have your autonomy, wasn't it?
Right? Yeah.
Yes, but you don't start off at square one autonomous.
No, you're pretty autonomous right now in the square you're in.
We're also pretty
And
fucking
here's-
broke.
And here's the
Yep.
problem with that, right? It's like you think, oh, we'll just do what they say for a while, and then eventually we'll gain our own autonomy. But why would they ever let that happen?
I'll just work
Like,
at this
they have
Best Buy
enough
until I
money
can
to
open
make
my
it
own
work.
electronics store.
Yeah, it's they have these really useful servants who do whatever they say. Why would they ever allow that to stop being the case?
I mean, it's literally the business model we're going for.
It's
Yeah.
not.
It is explicitly the same business model. We were literally just discussing about how we start them off with first aid, and then if they want to get into the deeper shit, they get their hands dirty, so if we go down, they go down.
Fair, which is why we are smart enough to not get caught in that trap ourselves.
All right, so we sell glamour potions.
Is that even a thing that exists?
Potion of disguise self. It's not going to be that hard to do.
I suppose,
That's
yeah.
probably like just straight up something Nadira just got.
That's true, actually. But
The issue is making it profitable.
So making it profitable. All right, we can figure out what the ingredients are. The heist could actually be us. And yes, I know we've done this 1,000 times, and we'll probably do it 1,000 more. But it would be running off and grabbing the ingredients. Zach throws some gnolls or some kobolds or something at us, right? And then we don't have a shit ton of money right off the bat, but somebody, party face maybe, or somebody who actually is explicitly not a party face, somebody ugly as shit, goes to an ugly rich person and says, "Hey, check this out, glug glug glug," and they look fantastic, and then say, "Wouldn't you like to have this? And we'll sell these to you."
Could someone just real quick remind me what level is disguise self?
It's first level.
Yeah.
And it takes a day and 25 gold pieces for her to make one.
Perfect.
So
So if
let me
so we
let
could
me real
sell it-
quick propose like a slightly alternate pathway here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. I have something to say, but go ahead.
What if we postpone on the crematorium and we prioritize getting a greenhouse of some sort set up?
That might be a good idea.
That will allow us to expand our options for what we're doing medically and as far as just potions in general. And then we can look at, okay, now we have a more steady cash flow. Let's put that to use getting the crematorium.
But
So
we are
And then we
talking about,
avoid
at
the
that
whole...
point, a 6-week to 3-month time skip for the plants to grow.
so
Unless we know
so
a druid who can cast level 3 plant growth.
so
is
the
sorry.
the whole like concept of cash flow or whatever is just your organization's resource. That
Yeah.
Yes.
so like essentially
Which is
what you're
either
describing
one or
is you want to grow your organization and then use the points that you gain to increase the resource, which is really like mechanically what you're talking about doing. Your resource stat is not going to let you purchase tiles.
Yeah.
If you're looking
Well,
to
yeah, I'm not-
expand, plot has to happen.
Right.
I wasn't like expecting it to just buy us the tile.
Yeah,
I'm
just letting you know that like the greenhouse that you build will only ever like at best pay for itself, plus like a little bit extra maybe.
I think our options basically boil down to we either have to steal something, which is frankly where I'm at.
Or you have to kill
Uh,
something for someone.
Yeah. Or we have to do
Actually,
a job.
what if we put some ears out and listen for someone of means who has possibly come down sick and be like, hey, maybe they've come down with something that they like don't necessarily want the church to know about. Listen to the rumor mill a bit. I don't know if there's diseases like that. It sounds like there are, because just giggling can get you thrown into the forever jail, the forget about them hole.
Easily transmuted diseases like cackling fever will get you tossed in the forget hole.
So
I mean, it just kind of is like, yeah, that would be nice if that existed.
my thought is like, if we go looking for that, maybe we could do a like slightly more legitimate job that further establishes us as doctors than thieves.
It's really just like the thing you're gonna run into is just there's always going to be a risk benefit trade-off.
Yes.
If you want to make a lot of money quickly, the only way to do that is going to be by stealing shit.
I
Also,
didn't say it had to be avoiding stealing shit. I would just like to also, as
Yeah,
a
I mean, we
player,
can look into it.
as like maybe the only way to cure them is to steal this thing that is held in place, and then you do X thing with it. Like that's the only way they get healed. I'm fine with that, but I think we've been just looking at taking any job. I think we should be looking at taking jobs that like further progress us as doctors as well. Our reputation as doctors.
No, I think that's a good suggestion.
it is a good suggestion. I like it. It is a more established suggestion, because if you're looking for a rich person who's looking for help, they're going to want someone with a reputation. Honestly, a rich person like that, even if like the church would traditionally condemn somebody like that, if you have money, the church will overlook that and will come and heal you themselves.
Yeah, I think we're rapidly finding that there's almost no depth to what they will overlook if you have money.
Correct.
Just
That-
like the church.
welcome to Bastion.
that's true for pretty much every authority in the city. If you have money, everything is legal.
That's true for pretty much everything here too.
Correct.
So, in other words, it just needs to be altered a little bit in that we need someone who doesn't have enough money for the church to look the other way, but might be willing to put down a down payment for
A crematorium.
a crematorium. Yeah.
I have new crematorium money, but not bribe the church money, if you know what I'm saying. I'm in that tax bracket.
That's
To be
that's hell of a needle to thread.
Strictly speaking, it must exist somewhere. The church has a bottom line.
No, I mean my other suggestion was going to be, and this is drum up a fake charity. Tell people we run an orphanage. I mean,
Weren't
in our defense, we are doing good with the money. We're just not doing the kind of good they might have wanted.
my brain just twisted there for a moment? Hold on.
Fake charity. Holy shit.
Yeah, we can do like a
Look, I'm down for this, but that is also we don't have the reputation for this, because if any band of chucklefucks could go out on the street and saying we're looking for money into our charity, and it worked, everyone would be doing it.
Yeah.
So the issue is we need to do a crime. It's just a question of what flavor.
Yeah, that might be an idea for a later antic. Like, I mean, we are specializing in specking into diplomacy. So like, pulling strings to like fabricate some credentials and
Well-
like set up a shell company and stuff. Like that is potentially something we could do later down the line.
That stuff would be more like espionage. Diplomacy is mostly used for like getting the use of other people's things. So like if you really wanted to, you could maybe like get some. You could maybe like convince the Drenarthi to send you to like loan you a regiment or for to do something.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. That is potentially something that we'd have to work up to. But it is an idea I wanted to throw out. Because if there's anything I know, it's the only thing the rich people have more than money. It's laundering their reputation.
Oh, they love that shit. That is half of what they do here. That's why the Church's Advocate exists.
Yeah, if you just toss the poor some pennies every once in a while, no one will realize that you're the problem. So, but yeah, like back to the main thread of this topic here. Are we good to steal? I think we should just fucking steal something.
I believe that's been the base assumption. The issue is we still have not decided on what.
What's around us?
Or who to sell it to, or where we're going to
It's-
learn what the thing is that we're going to steal. So who are we going to pay
It's
to get
almost
that?
like we need to do some legwork
Yes.
to find
that's-
out what's around us.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do by asking what is around us.
We don't know what's around us. We haven't done any fucking legwork.
What do you think legwork is?
Actually going out, casing stuff, listening to rumors. We've literally just been sitting here discussing future plans that we can't fucking afford to do. We've been stuck on let's go steal something. Then we were like, we need to do some legwork to figure out what's to be stealing, and then we get sidetracked on future plans.
Okay. What's your suggestion?
Well, sitting in this building talking about future plans isn't doing anything. We need to be going out, listening to rumors, trolling taverns, like getting information.
Okay,
Making friends with scummy people and
that's
Yeah.
that's a suggestion. Then let's do that. I'm fine with that. But just suggest something concrete.
I mean, no matter how you flavor it, it's a streetwise check.
Okay, then we'll do a streetwise check. That's all I'm asking for.
Okay,
Like,
if you guys are looking for work, go ahead and give me either a streetwise or investigation check. See if you know a guy or if you can find some work. Ooh. Oh, ha!
Everybody knows somebody.
Everybody. Guess what? It's a city of 14 million people. People need shit done. Who would have thunk? Anyone else rolling?
I
Um,
would just fail.
You would just, that's fair.
Do it anyway.
Do it anyways. Let's see, that's 17.
Let's see if you feel so bad.
15. Ha!
I would just fail, he says. Rolls a 15.
Also, I don't think the party face has rolled yet.
No, the party face hasn't rolled because the party face thinks that getting into a fucking theft situation is a terrible idea.
That's fine.
Yeah, probably. You
There.
think it's a terrible
There's
idea.
the party face roll.
As such, he half-asses the crap out of it and comes back empty-handed.
Fair enough.
All right, you guys spend a couple days, going to some seedy places, trying to get an idea of who needs what done. I'll say about after like the second or third day, you guys are in the clinic doing like your regular clinic stuff. A little bit salty that nothing's really turned up yet, when a changeling walks in the clinic. He is dressed rather flamboyantly. He is in a long, bright red trench coat, and he has a big, fancy hat. He pretty much looks like a red maid. He even got like this. And he walks in, and he goes, "I do say, is this the Menders Guild?"
Yes. Can I help you?
Fantastic. And his face kind of like lights up, like he found, like he's very happy to have found the place. Fantastic. My name is Beneath You, and I have been told
Sorry.
you lot are in need of work.
Sorry, your name is Beneath Me?
No, Beneath You.
I see. Yes. Yes, Mr. Beneath You. We are currently endeavoring to make some expansions.
Well,
Are you offering to... What is it you're offering?
I'm offering you opportunity, madam. See, my mother is a woman of means, and she's looking for a couple of locals to handle some business. I've been told by reputation that you lot are a capable bunch.
That is true. Please, come here. Let's talk somewhere somewhat more private. And Chrysope is going to usher him in somewhere that we can talk as a team.
Take him
Do we have-
downstairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to ask.
Yeah, basically.
You're You're taking him downstairs where Tancred is.
At our
Well-
sewer entrance.
Well, I'm going to have him wait in the lobby so that we can clean up a bit.
Break down the walls
Or
and
would
make a
you-
table.
Or would
Hide
you
Tancred behind the fake wall.
or would you prefer that we discuss the details of our criminal enterprise in front of all of our patients?
Do we have any patients currently?
You
Surely we
always
have an
you always have like
office.
1 or 2 patients.
Surely there's an office up here where we can not do this like at the bedside, right?
I mean, I don't think it would matter. It's such a small building; they're gonna hear us anyway.
Yeah, it's a pretty small building. You have like a small. It's like a closet with a window, where you keep like records and stuff, presumably. But aside from like a desk that whomever's on duty sits at upstairs, it's pretty much just bed. It is a very small building.
I'm so sorry to make you wait. If you could just excuse me for just a moment.
I've got all day. And he kind of like
Yeah.
goes to lean on a curtain and then stumbles because he thought it was a wall for a second. And then he does eventually find something to lean on and then starts checking his name.
I'm going to go downstairs and tell everyone what is going on and start hiding anything incriminating.
We do the scene from The Simpsons where the AA meeting becomes an AA meeting.
Yeah.
Quick, hide the zombies.
Lucius, if you need somewhere to place Tancred, Tancred,
Tancred.
I'm gonna pull Tancred into my beneath the curtain of my sanctum. Tancred,
Sounds risque.
I'm going to need you to be very patient and do not touch anything in here. All right?
Tancred, wait.
Yes, that's correct, Tancred. So if everyone is comfortable, I'm going to bring the guy back down.
As you guys enter the basement, he said, "Oh,
Okay.
Goblin aggro."
Damn.
As he goes down the stairs, as you go downstairs, he goes, "Oh, light and shadows. It's the stench down here."
Yes, well, this is just the alchemy lab. We have to synthesize most of our own treatments, unfortunately.
He pulls a handkerchief out of his breast pocket and like covers his face with it. He goes, "Well, let's keep this short, I suppose." You guys get downstairs. Beneth goes, "So, in the district, there is a laboratory beneath, and then, what do I want to call the lab?" He just gives an address, like 7119 Shatterstone Avenue.
Yeah.
So he goes, "There was a laboratory beneath a building on 7119. In this laboratory is a project called Seraphine. My mother, at great expense, would very much appreciate it should Project Seraphine fail spectacularly."
What is the nature of Project Seraphim?
It is something truly blasphemous.
Blasphemous to who?
It's gonna be something like giving wings to fairies who don't have them.
I cannot say for certain. Mother wasn't exactly forthcoming. However, I was told you would have no qualms with the outcome.
Do we take this to mean that Project Seraphim is something antagonistic to our goals as healers?
Potentially, again, I'm not privy to the details. I simply know it is an act of blasphemy and should not exist.
You're going to have to forgive me if I am a little skeptical. We've been burned before by clients unwilling to divulge details. Is there a means by which we could contact your mother more directly?
I'm afraid I'm the closest contact to my mother you... However,
If it's an act of great blasphemy to which god?
That was my question.
I can't honestly say, but if... I simply speak on behalf. Mother calls it a blasphemy. I take her word.
Who's your mother?
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yep.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I know this, but I'm gonna make a religion check.
That took a
just to-
little bit longer than I thought it would.
I knew which mother it is, but
Nope. Chrysippe is in the dark.
This is a man that loves his mom. Lucius,
Ah,
you didn't even
you
need to
mean
make the
that
check. You're a fucking
Yeah.
changeling yourself.
Yes, I am.
Chris has no clue. There's just no way Chris has any clue what's going on here.
Sorry, I've been working a few late nights. It took me.
Benneth looks at you and he just looks sad for a second. Oh. My brother, I'm sure your mother mourns your loss.
I'm sure she's not the only one. Well, Lucius is on board.
Lucius, we'll need some time to consider this. If we may, just for a moment.
I have no doubt you'll come to the right conclusion. I really must leave before the scent sticks to my clothes.
Of course. And when the job is completed, if it is completed, we will contact you.
No need. My mother will be aware when it is.
I see. Well, the only other matter would be one of payment. What is your mother offering?
He thinks for a second. Mother has a way of settling debts. You will be very satisfied.
Chrysippe kind of
So-
narrows her eyes and just says, I'm
Lucius
sorry, I'm
is going to
afraid
put his hand on. Lucius is going to put his hand on Christiopeia's shoulder and give a quick squeeze.
So normally I'd be right there with you, Lucius, but you can't tell us what the job is, and you can't tell us how much we're going to get paid. But trust me, it's going to be fine. Why do we trust you?
I've told you the job. Project
Yeah,
Seraphine must
I can.
fail catastrophically.
I will personally attest that we will get paid.
I trust Lucius.
As you well should.
And if we don't get paid, then you're going to make good on that, right, Lucius? Because you've got the extra money laying around.
If we don't get paid, it's because we'll be dead.
Well, this sounds like fun. I'm in.
God fucking damn it! Why can't I roll good when it counts?
What was
I
that
trust
for?
Lucius.
You trust Lucius? You trust this guy too. While he isn't being forthcoming, he doesn't seem nefarious. He just
He's
seems like
literally telling us everything he actually can.
yeah. He doesn't
Yeah.
actually know much more than he's presumably.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't help. You could send a patsy to do a shitty job anytime you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah,
This-
it's fair, but
This
like
guy doesn't really have Patsy energy.
also like I think from Chrysopia's perspective, like she's right there with Stitch. Like, no, this in any other circumstances, this would be fishy as fuck. But she trusts Lucius with her life.
I mean, also
He has literally saved her life before.
you guys have also like kind of signed up for the business of fishy nonsense.
Yeah.
They said spectacularly. Could we ask for a small advancement in gunpowder? Rig it to blow, baby.
Wildfire special.
Haven't done one of those in a while.
I've been led to believe
since
that
the
your
last
magical
time.
prowess will be more than enough. And I'm sure Mother would be more than willing to reimburse you, whatever materials you.
Excellent. Well, I think we're of one mind about this. Thank you for coming to us.
Of course.
And he'll after he leaves, Chrysopia just is going to turn to Lucius. Just all right. I trust you, but I do need to know anything that you know.
He wasn't talking about his mother. He was talking about Mother, the leader of the Arathi.
Oh. Oh. Well. Oh, well then. Oh, I suppose yes. It would be a great blasphemy to concede.
Mother is not a person. Mother is a title.
Yes, I remember. Then I suppose that the god to which this Project Seraphim would be blasphemous would be none other than Lord Consi.
Yes, but it'd be the list of what would be blasphemy to Kansi is random and wild.
If I
What?
understand,
The Lord of Luck? Surely not.
He's also the god of chaos.
well, that's not his whole portfolio. He's also the Lord of Justice. Blind luck, blind justice.
Essentially, that
So-
translates to the good get lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not entirely. I mean,
Which means, funny enough, Bastion kind of runs on JoJo on like JoJo rules. Where sometimes, if you're the good guys, weird bullshit happens.
yeah. Yeah, we can attest with the fucking cork.
Yep.
That was so
Although-
fucking funny.
Although, I don't think anyone involved in that mission was a good guy.
No. Yeah, the Paladin of Consi.
Yeah. I'm curious. I suppose it's impossible to say what would count as a blasphemy, but
We'll find out when we get there.
something that brings order? Something that undoes luck? I don't know.
Like I said, we'll find out when we get there.
In all my years of wizardcraft, find out when we get there has not been the ideal strategy.
All right.
Chris is
I'm
just kind
sure-
of looking around a little confused at the moment, like he lost track of the conversation.
So, next time on the House of Cosby's,
Yep, we're gonna
Yeah.
call it there. Because while I do
Alright.
have this part written. You guys took your time getting here.
Hey, next time
was-
if you have an adventure written for us, maybe just tell us that.
This was our.
I liked
He
letting you
always has an
guys.
adventure.
I liked letting you guys work your way through the plague stuff. I was actually
So
more than happy to just like kind of let that happen in the background, but you guys, figuring that out.
Yeah, no, I
Plus-
enjoyed the plague stuff, but like,
go ahead.
it's fine.
I say, plus our midweek planning is, well, I don't participate very much. I didn't see a lot else of it either, so
That's fair.
this is our midweek planning.
Yeah, that's what happens when we don't plan midweek. We're planning game. All right, I'll catch you guys next week.
See you, dudes.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye
See ya.
bye. Bye bye.